It's another big day for wrestling fans who love wrestling news because we have some very exciting stories. We're going to talk about Bray Wyatt. We have a very massive update on Bray Wyatt. Also, in addition to that, former WWE superstars could very well be headed to Impact Wrestling after having talks during WrestleMania weekend. And we got to talk about WWE being interested in an AEW tag team. And I'm going to tell you guys why I'm excited about all of that coming up in just a moment. If you guys want more videos like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button for more. You guys remember Top Dollar? Yeah, so we haven't seen Top Dollar and we haven't seen Hit Row show up on AEW yet. And that's totally fine, right? Obviously, you know, a lot of people have mixed reactions as far as everybody going to AEW and whatnot. But it doesn't appear that Top Dollar and Hit Row are done. We saw them have a pretty damn successful WrestleMania weekend. Obviously, they were doing stuff with the collective as well, which was awesome. But now Top Dollar has revealed with Sportskeeda that there may be plans for Impact Wrestling. Now, more specifically, Top Dollar said that nobody knows this. We did WrestleCon at WrestleMania. Impact was at that hotel. And I'm just saying that there were very good conversations that were had. There are still things that need to be looked at, worked out, and a lot of discussions that still need to be had, but the Hitmakers were in the building. Now, for those who don't know, Hit Row is now called the Hitmakers, and technically Swerve is no longer with the group. Swerve has decided to go his own solo route, which I think is the right decision. Now, in terms of Ashanti Adonis, B-Fab, and Top Dollar, it appears that those three will be sticking around. And I think this is a wonderful idea. I don't know exactly what details were discussed here with Impact, but I actually think they will fit the Impact brand a lot better. And on top of this, this allows them to be on television without necessarily being on AEW. And, I like them a lot. I like their work, and I feel like WWE, they dropped the ball. I mean, I really don't see how I can defend WWE here. WWE had them debut on the main roster, and then all of a sudden, within weeks or whatever, man, like they were gone. So I'm excited to see what actually comes out of this. I feel like Impact does produce a good product. They obviously need to step up their production game. I've said this a lot. But just as much as I like AEW and WWE, you can't forget about Impact. And I think Impact shouldn't necessarily spend the most money on signings. What they should do is sign perfect fit people. I know that doesn't make sense entirely, but I think they should sign people that fit entirely well with their brand. And I think Impact, I feel like Top Dollar and the entire group, really, I feel like they would flourish with that kind of freedom that maybe they wouldn't have in WWE, especially with Top Dollar being really good on the mic. I feel like he would do well there. So really interesting to see how that, transpires over the next few weeks, maybe even months. I'll keep you guys updated, but very good chance that the Hitmakers could be on their way to be making an impact. All right, guys, you may have heard about this story. This is unbelievable. WWE is reportedly interested in signing FTR. This report did come from Fightful last night. And honestly, this is not shocking, but for those who are unaware, it appears that WWE is, yes, they are interested. Now, before I shoot this entire idea down, because I love exactly what FTR is doing on AEW, I think AEW has gotten it 1,000% correctly with FTR, okay? These guys are ROH champions, AAA tag team champions, former AEW tag team champions. These guys are incredible. These guys went from being the Revival, which were, don't get me wrong, they were a fantastic team on NXT, and I thought they were a fantastic team on the main roster. But I feel like I really started to enjoy their work and see their potential greatness when they stepped foot on AEW because of that freedom that I feel like they've had to just kind of be who they are. They feel more authentic on AEW television. Now, this is not a WWE versus AEW thing. You guys should prepare yourselves. If you're watching this video, you should prepare yourselves for the possibility that there will be talent flip-flopping back and forth. Now, FTR, we talked about this. Dax even said it, if the money and circumstances were right. And a lot of people believed that, hey, he might be putting this out there because their contracts end in a year. If the option isn't picked up, that might just be a negotiating tactic, whatever it may be, whatever it is, right? I always believe there could be a scenario where money and circumstances would make somebody make a great decision like that. Now, if I'm playing fantasy booker for a second, The only way possible I would want FTR back in WWE is if WWE really, really puts an emphasis on tag team wrestling in their company. RK Bro, Usos, New Day, Street Profits, they've had some cool stuff happening on TV in recent weeks, maybe even the last month or two, but I need to see more focus. And if these tag team championship belts get unified, and with unification means that they're going to take it more seriously, maybe they're going to start developing more tag teams, calling up more tag teams from NXT. You know, if they start to go that route, if they were to really put the same amount of emphasis on tag team wrestling as AEW, I think it would be really cool to see FTR hold those unification belts. But if there are no plans for WWE to take it serious, if they're just going to put them back to being the Revival, just being another tag team, I am not interested in WWE signing them. And I think WWE absolutely did drop the ball with them. And I think that's why, you know, AEW has been a great spot for certain talent who were underutilized, because you can see the difference between, you know, some of the restrictions that they have in one company versus the other. But does this mean FTR is also interested? Well, there's still a contract in play, so who actually knows? All right, guys, and for our final story of the day, we are talking about Bray Wyatt. It's been a very long time since we have talked about Bray Wyatt. But, of course, a lot of people were wondering, what is the holdup? Where is Bray Wyatt? There was rumors for Bray Wyatt to be in AEW. We covered it all. We talked about all of those stories, things that came from Meltzer and other sources, Full Gear, this, that, you know, Arthur Ashe, like, there was a lot of talk at one point about Bray Wyatt going to AEW. Then there was time where there was rumors that Bray Wyatt could go to Impact. There was even a small time period where there was rumors WWE might be interested in bringing back Bray Wyatt. Now, I can't sit here and tell you guys what Bray Wyatt is thinking. I can't tell you guys what Bray Wyatt is looking for in terms of creativity, money, like booking stuff, whatever. But somebody had asked Meltzer about this recently, and Bray Wyatt apparently has a very, very high asking price, according to Dave Meltzer. Now, the reason why this is such a massive update is because there has been a lot of talk as to why hasn't Tony Khan brought in Bray Wyatt. Now, a lot of that does have probably, if I had to guess, has to do with the financial reasons for it all, right? Like, I think that right there, the financial aspect of this all is one of the things that holds Tony Khan back. It definitely holds Impact and AEW back because, you know, you want to be smart with your signings. You also got to see how this person fits with their product. I think this is a combination of multiple of things. But if you are Bray Wyatt and you're asking for a lot more money, you know, AEW is not releasing people, but they're definitely not re-signing people. And that is because they have enough money to afford a couple key signings. Now, with that being said, Cody Rhodes has left AEW, which should definitely open up, you know, the cap space to make a big signing. So if WWE or AEW is looking at bringing in Bray Wyatt, it is going to cost them a lot of money. And do I think right now these companies are interested in spending a lot of money for Bray Wyatt? Well, if I were in one of these companies, I would bring in Bray Wyatt. Let's play fantasy booker. If you're AEW, how do you bring in Bray Wyatt? You bring him in immediately to the top. You have him do his Fiend character that is on a whole different level, new mask, new everything. Just have him start taking out people left and right on TV, backstage, whatever it may be. If you have Bray Wyatt on WWE, I think the first thing that you do is put him in the ring with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is cutting a very beautiful, emotional promo. Lights go out. Nobody knows this is happening, right? It hasn't gotten leaked. Nobody's talking about it. Bray Wyatt takes out Cody Rhodes. You want to do something that is very, very impactful with a guy like Bray Wyatt, because we have seen time and time again, every time WWE does something good for Bray Wyatt, they take 20 steps backwards when they keep going with it. So I hope that doesn't happen, but I would want them to do some really good stuff here, and that's the only way they can make it happen. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.